Well, this is what I used to do when I first came to France in 2002, and I did this for, well, up till now. But as it's gone on, the time, I've obviously got more and more into my bees in the last 11 years. I was actually looking at when my first hive was 11 years already, it'll be 12 years next year. And what's happened historically is over time, my clients have left or they've sold, and I haven't stayed with the people that have bought their houses, because I've been trying to reduce, and it's like this kind of balance thing the whole time. You're desperate not to have to do any more of this, but at the same time I did enjoy it. I absolutely loved it for quite a while, and it did keep me in reasonably good income. But when I look at the work I used to do, for instance, I used to have it was generally garden maintenance, and but what I used to do was I used to do a few projects in the winter when there was less grass cutting and stuff like that. And the projects included make the odd patio, the cutting of hedges like this, but I did bigger hedges where they get out of control a bit, and you have to go in with a chainsaw and you basically go and do that on a price. And that's the kind of things I was doing, but all the time it's been growing and growing, the business. And really I've kind of let the business fall away because I really didn't want to pursue this any further, because I knew that my bees was my underlying passion. But it's finding that time, finding the right time for you to say, no, now is the time. And with what's been happening in Brexit and all the political side of things, a lot of people have sold up. I'm at this client now. This is my last client who was actually selling this weekend. Their contract goes through. They've had all the papers signed and everything, and you know, really pleased for them. They've got a buyer. But since Brexit and COVID, it's just changed everything, the whole economic climate. And actually where we are now in Brittany has become a very, very sought after area. And a lot of people are moving to this area because Brittany is kind of one of the last areas that is pretty sparse, but it's also got everything. It's not like moving to the centre of France where there's nothing, and there's a lot of areas in France. I'm not being detrimental. There is a lot of areas in France that have not got a lot going on. Where Brittany, it never gets really too hot, it never gets really too cold. Okay, it rains a bit in the winter, but it's always mild. You don't get any major events, you know, major storms. You get the gales, but everybody gets that. It's just generally a good place to move. So historically, a lot of my clients have sold up at the right time, and they've moved on, and it's the right time for me. So what am I going to do for my income? Well, I've got 5 barrels of honey at the workshop. I've got some money in my bank account now. I have a little bit of money every month for my social security because I have to pay out to get it in, but that's the same. It's the same social system in France. And I have a pollination contract that's going to pay in the spring. And obviously I'm not going to divulge my personal accounts, because that's not what you do on the internet. But I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, because a lot of people ask me what I do. And from up till this moment, I've always been work. And I always say, if you ever short work, you can always find it somewhere. Because if you can go out and work, you can hold a hedge cutter, you can pick up a rake, you'll always find work. But for me, I've been really lucky, and I've been fortunate that I've had really good clients. But I have also been really good to them. They've looked after me, I've looked after them. For instance, I used to hold the keys to their houses. I'd check around the property. If they were coming over on a Sunday morning, because often they get the overnight boat on the Saturday because they couldn't get off the Friday, so they'd come over Saturday, I'd go and cut their grass on the Saturday morning or the Saturday afternoon if it was dry enough, so that they had the lawns all cut. The problem is, when you're doing lawns and gardens in France for people that live in the UK and in some of the rest of France, they all come up on these holidays. So they're expecting you to really give 100%, because they're paying good money for most of the year for you to cut their grass when you're not there. And it's kind of you got to battle with it inside your head, because you're thinking, well, I still keep the grass cut, but actually I want it to be really nice when they come over. And because of that, I've always been so fortunate that I've had work. So now this is my last client, and now I'm left just to do my bees. So I've got to be very careful with my income over the winter. I've got wax to exchange, so that's going to pay for some of my wax for next year. I've got loads of frames already, and I've got enough income to buy a few more brand new ones, because what we do is we buy 1,000 between us, and we'll have an extra 500, as well as the 500 or 600 each we've got to re-wax over the winter. But those are the ones you have to actually re-wax. You have to clean them, scrape them, tighten up the wires. You see me do that last year. But we also have, as I say, a new amount that comes in together. So I've got plenty of frames for next year and plenty of wax, and that's the basic raw materials I need. I'll also need syrup, which will be about March time, so that should hopefully coincide with my pollination contract payment. I can't really talk about my other personal circumstances, but it's always a struggle when you're a single parent with 3 kids, which I am. But I've got to do this. I've got to do this because I know that I can inseminate. I know that I can raise nukes. I know that I can raise queens. I can make honey. And I know that's all I need. And I know that if I can concentrate on that more, to have the time to not have to go and cut grass in May when all my bees are going, let's make swarm cells. I can be there to sort that out now, and I'm so excited. I can't wait for next season because I am full of enthusiasm for that, and I'm so excited that I can finally put down these tools and not have to do this anymore. But the great thing is, I've got the tools, and if I needed to go and earn some money, I can always do that now. But what I'm saying is my official contractual work with my clients is over, and now I'm going to be free when this is finished which will be just a couple of weeks more. I'm free to finally go out and be myself with my bees. And there's nothing in the world better than being able to earn your own money yourself and be free to do what you want when you want. I used to have a full-time job in Jersey. I used to work as an ambulance technician, then I became a paramedic for the last couple of years. So I know what it's like. I've done shift work, I've done all that. And I'm so lucky that I moved here and everything fell into place. As I said, life's like opportunities. And this to me is my next opportunity. So I'm going to be doing this now. I've been paving the way for a long time. I've got a great workshop I co-share with my colleague. I'm just super excited and super stoked that that's going to be my next income. Financially, it's going to be tough at the start, but it is. But you just have to accept that. I've got a really good accountant I found as well, and he's helped me a lot. And believe you me, the paperwork in France is very complicated. I'm at the moment trying to battle through the paperwork to sort out stuff for my son, who's now 20, and he now no longer comes under the Social Security that I'm still under, because he's now 20 years old. So we've been sorting all that out. But believe you me, it is an absolute nightmare. I've never seen paperwork like it in my life. I'm not criticizing it. It's just the way it is. When in Rome, do what the Romans do, you know. But I just wanted to make this video to explain that I have no regrets. Everything's gone great. You kind of reap what you sow. And I've hopefully put into place things. I've got all my colonies fed. I've given them the best I possibly can for this year after all my losses, and boy did I learn a big lesson last year. But because of that, I think it was probably a good thing I had those losses, because it made me realize how careful you have to be and how precise and how much you have to work to get it right. You know, I'm only just learning, and I look at all these other great beekeepers out there like Ian Stepp, and I'm like, wow, that's tremendous. But I'm learning that it's there to be learned. You've got to be on the ball. You've got to put things into place. You've got to really think about things and plan, and that is a management skill that I'm learning. And it's no good saying it and not doing it. If you're going to do it, you plan it and you put it into place, and that's what you have to do with beekeeping. You know, you can't sit there and procrastinate the whole time about how you're going to do this and how you're going to do that. I look at all these other amazing beekeepers out there on heather honey, on the south coast of England, on all over the UK, all over Europe. You know, I've got making good friends with loads of people all over the world, and it's actually a job to keep up with that. But I see them, and it's something that's realised fundamental to me, that they're all doing what they do in their area. And as I've said so many times before, every area is different, and it's exactly the same when you're a professional beekeeper. You can't really be on the internet and share stuff with people in some respects, because everything you do at the professional level is very unique to your area, and even more so than an amateur level. So I don't want people to take that the wrong way, but if I say, oh, I'm doing it this way, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It means it's what I do here that I think is the best way. As we know, in beekeeping, you can go on forums, you can put a question, there'll be 100 answers come back, and they're all right. Everyone has put the correct answer in. So just be aware of that. But I really wanted to just spend 5 minutes just explaining that it is a leap for me. but it's a leap that I think is calculated, and a leap that I think is going to mean I'm going to have better queens, I'm going to have more honey, I'm going to have a little bit more time initially, but I know that time is going to be occupied because there's so many things like insemination I want to do with my bees, that I want to get better queens. I want to have better drones. I want to be a part of that breeding program. I want to be there. I want to be doing it. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be long, but that's what I want to do, because when you do something, you do it properly. You don't mess around. And that's what I've done up to now, and that's what's led me to here. And I just feel that now is the time. I'm going to be 50 next year. So I've got 20 working years of my life. Probably, and I don't think I'll ever stop, because I think you always keep going if you're a beekeeper. I don't think you suddenly go, right, tomorrow I'm going to retire. You might ease back, you'll always have a few hives, but what I'd love to be doing is knowing that I can work hard for the next 15, 20 years, invest in that, invest in the workshop, bring it up to how I want it. Not that there's anything wrong with it at all, because it all works for a single income, you know, when you're on your own. So that's all really exciting. I'm going to be doing things next year about development of the workshop, about development of my area and how I develop my apiaries and bring on hopefully more honey and more supers and all that kind of thing. It's all there. It's all great for the planning. But anyway, that's enough about this. I've got to get this finished because this has got to be done for the end of the week. And there you go. After this, I am free to be very careful with my money for the next few months. Anyway, hope you're all well. Hope you're keeping safe. I will be in contact soon. Bye for now.